Today we're going to be talking about quantum numbers, and quantum numbers are basically just an address for where an electron is located in an atom. So when we're looking at electron configuration with the arrows and the long lists of the element, this is just another way of writing that electron's location. So this is what we're going to be using. There's 4 different variables, and we'll go through each of the 4 variables. Each one of these things will have a number, and that number represents where the atom is located, and it'll get more specific as we go. So your address, your home address, is going to start with a number, and then the street, and then the city and the state. It will get less specific. This is going to get more specific as we go, so it's going to get closer and closer to finding that electron for us. The N stands for the principal energy level. And if you think about what we learned as far as electron configuration goes, the principal energy level is going to be the first number that we talk about when we talk about electron configuration. So the number cannot be 0. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. Number 1 through 7. And if you think about that, that's the same thing as the period number on the periodic table. Okay, so that's the principal energy level. And then you also have the sublevel. And the sublevel is going to be the S, P, D, or F. So it's the second number we're talking about when we talk about electron configuration. And we're going to give each of those sublevels a number that represents it. So the S is going to be 0, P is going to be 1, D is going to be 2, and F is going to be 3. And just a reminder, the S is on the left, P is over here on the right, D is the transition metals in the middle, and then the inner transition metals down at the bottom are the F sublevel. Okay, so that's N and L. And then the next variable we have is M sub L. So that's a little L basically there. And this is going to tell us which one of the lines our electron is on. So what you're going to do for the M is you're going to start in the middle, and you're going to start with 0. So since right here there's only one line, I'll start with 0. For P, I'll start with 0 in the middle, and then I'm going to work my way out like a number line. Everything to the right is going to be positive, and everything to the left is going to be negative. Okay, so for D, I'll start in the middle, then I'll have 1 and 2 on the right, and -1 and -2 on the left, and then I'll do the same thing for F. So in the middle, I'll put 0, 1, 2, and 3, -1, -2, and -3. So M sub L just stands for which line we're on. So we started at the sublevel, or I'm sorry, the energy level. Then we went to the sublevel. Now we're at the orbital. And the last variable that we're going to talk about is the spin. So for the spin, we're talking about which way the arrow is going. Is the arrow going up, or is the arrow going down? If the arrow is going up, it will have a positive 1/2 spin, and if the arrow is going down, it will be -1/2. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to put all that together. I'm going to give you a second to draw the electron configuration for oxygen, and then we will talk about the spin. Okay, so you should have, for oxygen, you should have 8 electrons if it is a neutral atom of oxygen. So this would be your electron configuration. And now I could ask you for any of these electrons to draw the quantum number. So for the first arrow we drew, this one right here, if I asked you to write its quantum number, you're going to start with the principal energy level, that number, so it would be 1. And then the next thing you would have is the sublevel, which would be S, and the number that we use for S is 0. Then you're going to tell me which line it's on. If you're in the S energy level, there's only one line, so that line is 0. And then you're going to tell me the spin. If the spin is going up, it is positive 1/2. Another example, I could ask you to do this arrow. So for that one, you're on energy level 2. Your sub-level is going to be P, and the number that we use to represent P is a 1. Then you're going to tell me which line. So the line in the middle is 0, and then you're going to work your way out like a number line. So this will be positive 1, and then the arrow is going up, so it will also be 1/2. We'll do one more example on quantum number, and this time I want you to do sulfur, and I want you to tell me what the last arrow that you fill in is. So for sulfur, you should have arrows going up to the 3p because sulfur has 16 electrons. And remember that when you add those arrows, you're going to spread them out as you go, just like I just did. So I started here, I spread them out, and then my last arrow came back and went on that first line. So I asked you to do the last arrow that you added, which would have been this one. So the first thing I'm going to have is the number, or the energy level, which is 3. Then I'm going to represent P, and P is a number 1. And then I need to say which line I put my arrow on. Remember, you always start in the middle with 0, and then this line would be -1. So -1, and then my arrow was going down, so it would be -1/2. And that is your quantum number.